So, hello and welcome back to LBG Reviews. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Now, as I'm sure some of you who have been with the channel may have noticed recently, I have stopped doing my retrospective series. I have stopped doing sleep stories. Why is that? Well, as I'd mentioned in last week's video, my family was in the process of moving. By the time that this video has come out, all of our stuff has been boxed up out of our old home. This is the final voiceover I'm recording in that old home. This is a home that I have lived in for as long as I can remember. I know that I was born in Arizona. No, cut that out. I know that I was not born into this home. I know that we moved here when I was really young, when I was like 2. But beyond that, this is the only home I remember ever having. And so I think for a final video to talk about Paper Trail, a game about a girl who runs away from home, feels very appropriate, very apt, I suppose. So yeah, if you notice it over the coming weeks that voiceovers sound a little different, they sound not as crisp, not as clean, not as refined, maybe a little bit more background noise than usual. That's because for 3 months we'll be going to see my grandpa, because he's pretty lonely since my grandma passed away. And so, rather than transforming a room in his home to be my recording studio, we're making do with a very rudimentary, very simple setup for 3 months. But anyways, back to Paper Trail. In Paper Trail, you play as Paige, a young girl who, if I recall correctly, she had been accepted to a university that her parents want her to go to, but she does not want to go to university. And so she runs away from home to escape from them, to escape from that expectation to go to school. But Paige isn't just any ordinary girl. She has the ability... Paige isn't an ordinary girl. She has the ability to fold reality around her like pages of paper. You are able to use this to solve puzzles, to navigate around the world, and also just in general, it's a very unique puzzle mechanic. There are certain limitations to it, like certain puzzle elements cannot, various puzzle elements that cannot, if you put them onto folded paper, the paper cannot then be folded back, so that way you lose access to the puzzle element unless you fold the paper again. Likewise, you cannot fold the paper over Paige. She has to remain on screen at all times, completely visible. You can't even cover a bit of her legs temporarily. No, the entirety of her body has to be visible at all times, which does present some challenge at times. I'm sure there are a few times in the recording, because it's been a few weeks since I recorded that gameplay, I'm sure there are a few points in the recording where I tried to fold the page around her. I tried to fold the page around Paige. But anyways, I tried to fold the paper around Paige, and I tried to go over her, but the game won't let me because that's not how the rules of the game work. In terms of accessibility features, it doesn't really have any, and that's okay. The game does not, from what I've experienced, does not require fast reaction times. It does not require, everything is fairly well telegraphed, and if it isn't, once you do a bit of fiddling around, it is well telegraphed. Once you see a puzzle element, you recognize it immediately on every other puzzle. As an example, initially there was a boulder in the cave area of the game, where initially I was like, how the heck am I supposed to get past this? But then I realized I can push the boulder, or there were platforms in the swamp area. At first it was this doesn't make sense. What am I supposed to do here? I can't get anywhere. I can move some of these platforms around to give me a like the wooden ones I could use as a raft to move Paige around on the directions that were carved onto the platform. But with the stone ones, I can't move it around while Paige is standing on it, so I've got to factor that into solving the puzzle. In terms of accessibility features, like I mentioned, there are really none. And honestly, I just wanted to talk about this game because it was a really fun game and it gives me a very apt goodbye to my old recording space in my old room. So, I plan to start recording videos shortly after we get into Arizona and after we get settled in after a few days. So, I hope you've enjoyed all of the videos I've recorded in this space, because I've enjoyed making them. See you guys next week. Bye.